All right, so I think I mentioned I'm here on a camping trip, and we're here because there's a paddling competition. My wife's a paddling coach, and so we're here. And this is actually where we are. Okay, can you see here? There we go. It's a little fancier than we normally do, and so that means that there's like facilities here. And so as soon as we drove in the other day, I noticed, because that's what I do, right away, that there were, in fact, pickleball courts. Let me show you. Okay, so this is what I saw when we arrived, that there's pickleball courts. They're nicely colored, right? Looks pretty good. Don't mind the porta potty. Anyway, so pretty cool, right? And I looked over here, and there's this whole, like, I call it a gazebo. I know it's not a gazebo. It has a real proper name, pergola. Anyway, it's really cool. But there's something about these courts that are kind of funny that I want to show you. Okay, so here we are on these courts, and these are these beautiful dedicated courts. My guess is this used to be tennis courts, and then they decided to change things, and they painted them. It's all nice. Get the pergola in the background. Right? Looks great, doesn't it? Okay, and what's neat about it too is I also found over here, someone has obviously put in some effort to create these little barriers here. Now, we just had let me put that down there. We just had a storm yesterday, so I'm thinking that knocked this down. So let's go and help them out. And this little like barrier system that they have here, this is just, it's like styrofoam almost. Here, let me just put you down here. Very low barrier, so sometimes the balls still bounce over is what I've noticed. But people have obviously gone into some effort here, and I think that's really cool. Right, they've got these little barriers here. What I've also noticed is another sign that somebody here in this rather, I don't want to say it's remote, but this smallish town here in Quebec, if you come over here, take a look at this, right? Hauteur filet, and that means net height. Net height. Here, let me get that in the sun. What was cool here, my wife said, what the heck is that stick for? She's not a pickleball person. But look, someone has obviously gone to the effort to make this little stick so they can measure the net height. Anyway, I thought that's really neat as well. And you can see there's a lake in the background. It's beautiful. Okay, so that's not what I really want to show you. That's strange here. What's strange here is that you have these beautiful courts, and then here you have a court with a net. And here you have a court with no net. And then over here, court with a net. And then over here, court with no net. Net, no net. Net, no net. And there's a little barrier. So what's going on? Well, let me tell you. So what's going on here is that whoever put in the money and like designed these courts didn't actually understand what goes on in pickleball. Right, so if you look here at the court beside me, okay, so there we see our net, there's that little barrier, and there's no net. Well, and right behind me, right, net, no net. Because what's happening is, let's say I'm playing here on this court, right, I'm standing here playing on this court. Well, you see there's no fence that divides this set up. Well, here, let me show you. You see there's no fence separating the courts. That's why they have this little barrier that they made. There's no fence. So if people are playing over there on that court, and people are playing here on this court, well, not only are balls going to run back and forth into each other, but they're going to run into each other. Just imagine if I was over here, right, I'm getting ready to return serve or something like that, and I don't know, you, because you're a very good server, I'm sure, you serve nice and deep, and then I take a step back, well, all of a sudden I am literally on the next court. So it becomes a real safety hazard when you put courts back to back like this. And so obviously what they've had to do is they've had to say, okay, we're going to stagger these courts. Right, no net over there, because there is a net, oh, there you go, there is a net there, right? Net there, that means no net here. No net there, so you can put a net here. Net over there, no net there. And so what a shame it is that you have these beautiful courts. You obviously have someone who's wanted to like dedicate money into making them into, I suspect these were tennis courts before, making them into pickleball courts so people can play. And I've been here for a few days now and people have been coming out and playing, but you can only use half the courts. Right? Because you've had to stagger because there's no fence in between them. And the truth is, the distance is so short. Right? Here, let's see if I can show you. Right? So here I am. Here. It's 1, 2, 3 of my steps. 3 of my steps, and I'm on the other court. And so if you put a fence 1.5 steps, you know, halfway between the two, it's all of a sudden it's so tight. They just need a little more space. Push those fences back, and it'd be really, really great. In the end, you end up having half the space you can use. It hurts my heart a little bit as someone who loves pickleball and loves seeing pickleball accessible to new people and new communities. And like, honestly, when I've been out here at the camping, it's like, it has always been very family oriented. We've seen lots of kids out here with their parents. We've seen older people, we've seen younger people. It's been really great, but they can't use it fully, right? Because of the way it's been set up and there's no fence in between. So the story, well, the moral of the story is if you are someone who is in charge of designing courts, make sure you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's okay too. I do lots of things where I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know enough that I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's the time to call in a professional. That's the time to call in a consultant. That's the time to spend a little bit of money on someone who knows what they're doing. How does it go? Measure twice, cut once. That's it. Measure twice, cut once. Spend a little bit of effort measuring that second time, making sure that you're doing it in a way that makes sense. And then you can go out and you can have these people enjoy what otherwise would be these really beautiful courts.